Something strange is coming this winter. Shelves are thinning out, the grid's under pressure, and experts are calling 2025 the weirdest winter in decades. Myth for a second. A single blackout. No fuel, no heat, no food for days. What would you do? Because when the lights go out, it's already too late to prepare. This isn't about fear, it's about readiness. We've seen what happens when storms shut down highways, when power lines freeze, when supply chains break overnight. This time the signs are already flashing red, from rising fuel costs to global shipping delays and unpredictable weather patterns. But don't panic. Prepare smart. In this video, I'll walk you through 15 critical items every prepper should stockpile before weird winter 2025, so you're not caught off guard when the next big freeze hits. We'll cover daily essentials you'll use every day, gear to survive grid down scenarios, and hidden items most people forget until it's too late. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to get, why it matters, and how to stay warm, fed, and safe, no matter how weird this winter gets. Item 1. Long shelf non-perishables. You know, I learned this one the hard way. A few winters back, an ice storm hit our area and trucks couldn't make deliveries for almost 2 weeks. The shelves in every store were stripped bare within 48 hours. People were panicking over instant noodles and bread, but I didn't worry, because I had already built my foundation: rice, beans, and pasta. These foods might not sound glamorous, but they're what I call quiet power. A single 25-pound bag of rice can feed a family for weeks. Beans give you protein and fiber when meat gets expensive or unavailable. Pasta cooks fast, fills you up, and stores beautifully. The best part? They're cheap. Even today, you can buy bulk packs for a fraction of what freeze-dried meals cost. Here's what I've learned. Store smart, not just deep. Use what you store and store what you use. Every few months, I pull older bags to the front of my pantry and cook from them. Then I replace what I use. That way nothing expires and nothing goes to waste. Keep everything sealed in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers. You'll easily get 10+ years of shelf life. When winter locks you in and stores close, you'll be grateful for a steady source of calories you can rely on. And once you have your food base covered, it's time to think about your next layer of survival: protein and nutrition. Item 2. Canned proteins and veggies. Disregard what winter taught me, it's that you can survive without comfort, but not without nutrition. During a winter blackout a few years back, my stove didn't work, the fridge was useless, and I was burning candles for light. I'll never forget cracking open a can of tuna and realizing, this was gold. No cooking, no prep, just protein straight from the can. That experience changed how I prep. Now, I keep a dedicated shelf for canned proteins and vegetables: tuna, chicken, beans, even canned chili and soups. These are lifesavers when you can't cook or boil water. And here's a secret: variety keeps you sane. Don't just stack potatoes and corn. Mix in carrots, peas, spinach, or mixed veggies. Your body needs those micronutrients to stay strong, especially when stress and cold take their toll. Immigration. Always check the shelf life. Aim for 5 to 10 years. Most canned meats and vegetables can last that long if stored cool and dry. I buy in rotation, label each can with the purchase date, and use the oldest first. When a can hits the kitchen, I replace it the next week. That's how you keep a living, reliable food system. Because when you can't rely on the grid or the grocery store, your stockpile becomes your security blanket. NIMS. Talk about something even more essential: water. The one resource no prepper can live without. Item 3. Water plus purification. You can live weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. That's something I learned one bitter winter when our pipes froze solid. No running water, no flushing toilets, no coffee, nothing. I remember melting snow in a pot just to get enough for drinking and washing. It worked, but it was miserable. After that, I promised myself never again. Now, water storage is one of my top priorities. Every person in my home has at least 2 to 3 liters of water per day stored for 2 weeks minimum. I keep sealed containers in a dark, cool place, plus several 5-gallon jugs in the garage. It's heavy, it takes space, but when disaster hits, it's priceless. Missions. Half my water is for immediate use. The rest is backup for purification. I keep a few reliable water filters, a gravity filter and a portable pump, plus purification tablets that kill bacteria fast. If I ever have to collect rainwater or melt snow again, I can make it safe to drink in minutes. One tip that saved me: rotate your water every 6 months. Fresh water equals peace of mind. Crimson. Because in a real crisis, power, food, and even light can wait, but water can't. And speaking of power, next let's look at how to keep your home warm and your meals cooking when the grid goes dark. Item 4. Cooking fuel plus heat source. The winter of 2021 taught me a lesson I'll never forget. One night, the power went out during a blizzard. No heat, no stove, no light. Within hours, the temperature inside dropped fast. I could see my breath in the air. I remember holding a lighter over a cold pan of soup, just trying to warm it enough to eat. That night convinced me that food and water mean nothing if you can't heat or cook them. That's why now I always keep multiple backup heat sources. A small propane camping stove is my first line, compact, safe, and perfect for boiling water or cooking when the grid is down. For longer outages, I rely on a wood-burning stove that can heat an entire room and cook a simple meal on top. If you don't have one, even a small rocket stove or butane burner can be a game changer. Always store extra fuel safely. Propane cylinders, firewood, or charcoal, but never indoors. Rotate your supply just like food and water. And remember, in winter, heating failure kills faster than hunger. Hypothermia can set in quickly if you're unprepared. So think ahead. Blankets, sleeping bags, insulation. Build layers of warmth before you ever need them. Because once you can stay warm and cook a hot meal, you've already beaten half the battle of survival. Next, let's lock in that warmth with the one layer most people forget until it's too late. Proper winter clothing and thermal gear. Item 5. Warm clothing and thermal blankets. I'll never forget the night I truly understood how fast cold can turn dangerous. The power had been out for 2 days straight, the outside temperature below freezing, and my house felt like an icebox. I had food, I had candles, but my fingers were numb and my breath fogged the air inside my own living room. That's when it hit me. Warmth isn't a comfort, it's survival. Now, before every winter, I make sure my warm clothing and thermal gear are ready, not packed away in some attic. I keep layers for every family member. Thermal base shirts, wool sweaters, heavy-duty jackets, gloves, and thick socks. Cotton holds moisture and steals your heat, so choose wool or synthetic materials that insulate even when damp. And don't underestimate thermal blankets. Those thin, reflective emergency blankets might look flimsy, but they can save your life by trapping your body heat. I keep one in every car, every bug-out bag, and a stack at home. Even better, invest in heavy wool blankets. They're old school, but they work when modern systems fail. When your body starts losing heat, you lose focus, coordination, and hope. And that's when mistakes happen. Cold kills faster than hunger when you're trapped indoors. So don't wait for the chill to remind you. Prepare now, stay layered, and make warmth part of your survival plan. Neil, we'll move into the tools that keep that comfort going. Your backup power and lighting essentials when the grid goes dark. Item 6. Backup power and lighting. Misuse. When the lights go out, the world changes instantly. I remember one blackout when the entire neighborhood went pitch black. No hum of refrigerators, no street lights, just silence. It's eerie how fast that darkness makes you feel cut off from the world. That's when I learned light equals control. Without it, even the simplest task becomes a struggle. So now I never rely on just one flashlight. I keep multiple lighting sources. LED flashlights, solar lanterns, and a few headlamps so my hands stay free. Always store extra batteries in a cool, dry place, wrapped and rotated every few months so they don't corrode or die when you need them most. But light isn't the only power you'll need. Your phone, radio, and small devices are lifelines for communication. I use portable power banks and a foldable solar panel that can recharge them during extended outages. It's slow, sure, but when the grid is down for days, that little trickle of solar power feels like gold. I once went 72 hours without electricity, and that small lantern and solar setup kept me calm, productive, and connected. It's not about luxury, it's about morale and safety. Darkness feeds fear, but preparedness restores confidence. With light and backup power, you stay in control, even when the grid gives up. Astonished. And to keep that control going, let's move to the next essential, the tools that let you fix, build, and adapt when things break down. Item 7. Multi-tool, hand tools, and repair kit. Here in survival mode, something always breaks. A cracked bucket, a leaking pipe, a broken latch. I learned that the hard way during a winter storm that knocked out power and froze our water lines. The plastic fittings cracked from the cold, and without tools, I would have been stuck with nothing but frustration. But one old multi-tool saved the day. A screwdriver, a small wrench, and a bit of duct tape turned chaos into control. That's the thing about tools. They give you independence. A good multi-tool can handle dozens of small emergencies. Tightening screws, cutting wire, opening cans, stripping insulation. Pair it with a simple home repair kit. Hammer, nails, screws, zip ties, and plenty of duct tape. And you can fix or improvise almost anything. Turbulence. I always say prepping isn't just about storing, it's about adapting. If a handle breaks off your cooking pot or a door won't shut in the cold, tools let you adapt instead of panic. Keep them somewhere easy to grab, not buried in a shed or basement box. When everything around you is falling apart, even small repairs give a sense of control and progress. And speaking of control, once your tools are ready, the next step is keeping your health and hygiene in check. Because in any crisis, illness can hit faster than hunger. Blindness. 8. Communication and emergency radio. When a crisis hits, silence can be the scariest thing of all. During one winter blackout, my phone signal vanished. The Wi-Fi was dead and the neighborhood was pitch black. No updates, no alerts, just the eerie feeling of being cut off. That's when I realized without communication, you're flying blind. That's why I now keep a hand crank emergency radio right next to my flashlight. It doesn't need batteries, just a few turns of the handle and I can pick up weather alerts or emergency broadcasts. Many models even have USB ports to charge your phone. And if you live in a rural area or small town, walkie-talkies are a game changer. You can check on neighbors, coordinate with family, or call for help if someone's stuck or injured. Prisoners, we've seen it again and again. Hurricanes, winter storms, cyber attacks, entire communication networks can fail overnight. Even the New York Post recently highlighted how fragile our digital systems are when extreme weather or infrastructure overloads strike. In moments like that, the humble radio becomes your lifeline, your only window to what's really happening beyond your doorstep. Keep one charged, keep it tested, and make sure everyone in your home knows how to use it. Crimson, because when the world goes quiet, those who stay informed stay alive. Imprisonment. We'll cover something even more critical: hygiene and medical prep. Because surviving isn't just about staying warm or fed, it's about staying healthy. Item 9. First aid and hygiene kit. In every major emergency I've seen, whether it was a storm, flood, or blackout, the same thing happens. People forget about hygiene until it's too late. A single infected cut, dirty water, or lack of sanitation can take you down faster than hunger or cold. I've seen neighbors get sick just because they ran out of clean wipes or couldn't wash their hands properly during a power outage. That's why a comprehensive first aid and hygiene kit isn't optional. It's survival gear. Stock plenty of bandages, antiseptic wipes, gloves, pain relievers, antibiotic ointment, and any personal medications your family needs. Add feminine hygiene products, diapers, soap, toothbrushes, toothpaste, toilet paper, and disinfectant. It might sound basic, but in a crisis, these become gold. Land lesson I learned early. It's not just about injuries, it's about preventing infections before they start. A clean wound today is a life saved tomorrow. Keep your kit in an easy-to-reach spot, not buried in a cabinet. Check expiration dates every few months and restock as needed. When hospitals are overwhelmed and pharmacies are closed, your preparedness becomes your safety net. Because in survival, health is your first line of defense. And once that's covered, we can move to something equally vital: protecting your documents, money, and identity when systems go down. Item 10. Safe storage of documents and cash reserve. One thing I've learned over years of prepping: survival isn't just about food and firewood. It's also about protecting what keeps your life running once the chaos ends. During one regional blackout, ATMs were dead, card readers offline, and even mobile banking apps were useless. I had food, heat, and light, but couldn't buy a single gallon of gas until I found a small town station that still took cash. That's when it hit me. Digital systems can fail overnight. That's why I always keep a small emergency cash stash. Nothing crazy, just enough for fuel, food, and a few nights of shelter if I ever need to move. Store it in mixed bills, 10s, 5s, and 1s, in a hidden, waterproof spot or a fireproof safe. And then there's paperwork. If your home floods or burns, how fast could you prove your identity or insurance coverage? Make copies of IDs, passports, home deeds, insurance papers, medical records, and emergency contacts. Seal them in Ziploc bags or keep digital copies on a secure flash drive. RealityStudies.co even noted that cash and physical documentation remain the only assets that function in a grid-down event. And they're right. When power's gone, your digital wallet is worthless. Because in the end, survival isn't just staying alive. It's being ready to rebuild once things calm down. Next up, we'll move from financial safety to emotional survival, the mindset and small comforts that keep you steady when the world feels upside down. Item 11. Specialty freeze-dried meals and comfort foods. When you've been stuck in survival mode for days or weeks, something strange happens. The hunger fades into boredom, fatigue, and frustration. That's when morale becomes your greatest resource, or your biggest weakness. I've lived through a winter storm that left us snowed in for nearly 2 weeks, eating the same beans and rice every single day. I'll never forget the night I found an old chocolate bar in the back of the pantry, and how it lifted everyone's mood instantly. That's when I realized comfort food isn't luxury, it's emotional survival. That's why I always keep a supply of specialty freeze-dried meals and small morale boosters. Freeze-dried meals like beef stroganoff, chicken and rice, or pasta primavera aren't just practical, they're delicious, lightweight, and last 20 to 25 years if stored properly. Many come in single-serve pouches, so you don't waste food or water when cooking for 1 or 2 people. All you need is boiling water, and in 10 minutes, you have a hot, comforting meal that feels normal when nothing else does. And don't forget the small indulgences: coffee packets, hot cocoa, tea, peanut butter, energy bars, or a little candy stash. These simple things can reset your mental state, especially during long blackouts or isolation. You'll thank yourself for that chocolate bar when everyone else is sick of beans. Trust me. A terms in I've learned: test your freeze-dried meals before you buy in bulk. Some brands taste great, others not so much. Find what you actually enjoy and rotate a few into your camping trips or weekend outings to stay familiar with them. Because in the end, survival isn't just about staying fed. It's about keeping your spirit strong. And when the nights feel long and morale runs low, one warm, familiar meal can remind you why you're fighting to stay ready. Chapter 3. Next, let's move from comfort food to tools of warmth and safety. The kind of gear that keeps your home alive when the cold gets brutal. Item 12. Alternate heating and cooking. Simmons. When the power goes out in the dead of winter, it's not just inconvenient, it's dangerous. I'll never forget the winter when our main heating system froze solid during a power failure. The temperature inside dropped so fast we could see our breath indoors. That night, a few candles and an old kerosene heater turned a freezing disaster into a survivable night. It taught me something I'll never forget. You can survive without electricity, but not without warmth. That's why I always tell people to build a layered backup plan for heat and cooking. Start simple, candles and tea lights. They don't just provide light, they give off small but steady warmth. Then move up to a safe, portable kerosene or propane heater, the kind made for indoor or garage use. Just remember, ventilation is key. Always crack a window or door slightly to avoid carbon monoxide buildup. And for cooking, keep a fire starter kit. Matches, lighters, magnesium rods, or storm-proof fire starters, and practice using them. A small wood stove or outdoor fire pit can become your kitchen if the grid stays down for days. You can boil water, heat soup, or cook freeze-dried meals safely. People often overlook these items until it's too late, until they're sitting in the dark, shivering, realizing the furnace isn't coming back on. Don't wait for that moment. Seizing aside a small bin labeled Heat Backup. Include candles, a lighter, fire starters, and a small heater if possible. Test it once a year so you know it works when you need it most. Because when the world outside freezes and the lights go out, your ability to make fire, even something as small as a candle flame, becomes the difference between discomfort and danger. Nitrogen. Let's talk about water and sanitation backups. Because warmth keeps you alive, but water keeps you human. Item 13. Barter-friendly supplies. If there's one thing I've learned from every long-term emergency, it's that when shelves go empty, supplies become currency. During the last major power outage in my area, stores were closed for days. ATMs were down and gas stations ran dry. It wasn't money that kept things moving, it was trade. A neighbor swapped candles for bottled water. Another offered batteries for canned food. That's when I realized barter isn't a theory, it's survival economics. That's why I always keep a small stash of barter-friendly supplies. Things that hold real value when systems break down. Items like batteries, lighters, soap, toothpaste, propane cylinders, medical gloves, trash bags, coffee, and even toilet paper become instant trade goods. You don't need a mountain of them, just a small surplus that you can afford to share or exchange without hurting your own stockpile. Here's the key. Barter isn't just about getting something back. It's about building trust and community. In long emergencies, isolation kills faster than hunger. Having something extra to offer, a pack of matches, a spare blanket, a bit of fuel, can mean safety in numbers. It can turn strangers into allies. And let's not forget the economic side. As supply chains get weaker and inflation creeps higher, a trend even major outlets like Reuters and the New York Times have covered, small items like fuel, hygiene products, or batteries will only grow more valuable. Think of it as investing in practical currency. Label a small tote as your trade box, fill it gradually with extras you pick up on sale, and rotate them as needed. Because when the system cracks and goods vanish, those who can barter become the bridge between survival alone and survival together. Next, let's move to one of the most overlooked but powerful prepper assets, mental readiness and morale tools, the invisible gear that keeps you going when everything else wears you down. Item 14, winter vehicle and emergency kit, because your car needs to survive too. Most people focus on prepping their home, but forget their car. Yet in a real crisis or winter storm, your vehicle might become your only way out, or your only shelter. I learned this the hard way one icy night when a sudden blizzard shut down the main highway. Cars were stranded for miles. Engines froze, gas tanks ran dry, and people were left sitting in the cold, waiting for help that didn't come until morning. Ignoring experience taught me something vital. If you drive, your car is part of your survival plan. Build a winter vehicle emergency kit and keep it there all season. Start with the basics. A heavy blanket or sleeping bag, a small shovel, jumper cables, flashlight, gloves, and a reflective vest. Add non-perishable snacks, bottled water, a power bank, and extra fuel if it's safe to store. Don't forget an ice scraper, tire chains, and a first aid kit. If you live in colder regions, consider sand or cat litter for traction, and chemical hand warmers to keep your fingers working when the temperature drops below freezing. And always store it in a weatherproof tote in your trunk. Check it once every few months, rotate the food, and test the gear. Customize it for your climate. More fuel for rural areas, more water for long commutes, and more insulation if you live up north. Because when the roads freeze and the world slows down, your car might be the only warmth and movement you have left. A prepared vehicle isn't just a convenience, it's a lifeline. Next, we'll move to the final and most underestimated prep of all: mental resilience and family readiness. The true difference between panic and preparedness when the weird winter hits. 15. Community and skill buffer. After years of prepping, one truth stands taller than all the gear, gadgets, and supplies. You can't do it alone. When everything falls apart, the power, the roads, the news, what really keeps people alive isn't just food or firewood. It's connection. During a deep freeze 2 winters ago, I saw this firsthand. A neighbor's pipes burst while another family's generator failed. We pooled what we had, shared tools, food, and fuel, and kept each other warm. No one had everything, but together we had enough. That's when I realized the most powerful prep of all is community. Sites as you stockpile your supplies, start building your skill and contact buffer. Restless of reliable contacts, friends, neighbors, relatives, people you can trust to trade help or supplies. Hold a simple neighborhood meeting or casual chat to discuss what to do in a long power outage or snowstorm. Create a communication plan. Who checks on who? Where to meet if phones go down? Who knows first aid or has tools? And, most importantly, practice small drills. Try cooking one meal without power, or spend a night without turning on the heat. Test your readiness together. Research and prepper communities all agree. Skills and cooperation are the real currency in any prolonged crisis. Tools break, supplies run out, but people who know what to do and who they can count on adapt faster and survive longer. So don't just prep stuff, prep people. Build your circle now while the lights are still on, because when weird winter 2025 hits hard, the ones who stand together will be the ones who make it through. So there you have it. 15 things every prepper should stockpile before weird winter 2025. Each one might seem small on its own, but together they form a real safety net, a shield between you and chaos. I know how easy it is to think it won't happen to me, or I'll deal with it later. But here's the truth. Once the power goes out, once the roads are closed, once the shelves are bare, it's already too late to prepare. When you're sitting in a warm room with food, light, and peace of mind, while everyone else is scrambling, you'll thank yourself for starting now. This isn't fear, this is foresight. You're not panicking, you're preparing. So take a moment tonight, make your list, check your supplies, and pick one thing to improve this week. Little steps now mean big comfort later. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button. It helps more people find this content. Subscribe for more practical prepping, survival, and off-grid living tips. And drop a comment below. Which of these 15 items are you missing right now? I'll be reading the comments and helping you layer your stockpile for 2025. And if you want to download a printable checklist of all 15 items mentioned today, you'll find the link in the description below. Print it, pin it, and start checking things off before the next storm hits. Because preparedness isn't paranoia, it's peace of mind. Stay warm, stay ready, and I'll see you in the next video.